Hello everyone, welcome to the program. This is the Friday edition of Politics Today live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimale in Abuja. Let's continue our countdown. It's now less than 50 days, 49 days precisely, to the 2023 elections, which is now slated for the 25th of February. So Nigerians are anticipating the opportunity to elect their leaders in the election, which is 49 days away. So go get your PVC and make your vote count. Hashtag Nigeria decides. Continue counting with me, Nigerians. So the All Progressives Congress presidential candidate Bola Tinubu today in Abuja met with young supporters of the party, where the candidate doubled down on the need to empower young people and help them get into school by giving them education loans. Tinubu was saying that a lot of people may not have access to education, but should he win the election, he will grant access to Nigerians who are unable to afford it, young people to get loans to get into school. The APC candidate is interacting with the party young people in a bid to rub minds with them and get them on board ahead of the February 25th presidential polls.
Yeah, as you accepted candidate with a renewed hope to give you today, tomorrow, and day after, then the inheritance is yours. Thank you. Mine is to tilt a little bit the foundation I inherited. To build that foundation, break our economic recovery, to immediate, medium term, and long term for you to inherit.
Well, that's Bola Tinubu, the presidential candidate of the APC, earlier today in Abuja, the nation's capital. Our conversation today is bordering on something that I like to ask you. If you're not answering that questions, like they used to tell us those days in the NYC camp, you are wrong. You are wrong if you don't have your PVC. If you have your PVC and you have not gone to INEC office to collect it, you are wrong. If you're not planning to go and vote, you are wrong. Be on the right side tonight, everyone, and get your PVC and be counted in this move to get to elect quality leadership for Nigeria in the 2023 election. There are alliances that INEC is making. Are we fully ready for this election in terms of security? We'll be getting some expert opinion. INEC also says that it has now increased capacity and timing to distribute permanent voter cards. We'll be hearing from INEC. The last batch of the beavers has now arrived. So is INEC 100% ready for this election, which is 49 days away? We're having a robust conversation on the preparations for the 2023 election. So with me first, let's check out some of your political roundup stories.
The Court of Appeal sitting in Sokoto State has set aside the judgment of the Federal High Court nullifying the primary election of Mr. Dauda Lawal Dare as the governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party in Zamfara State. Delivering the judgment, Justice Abubakar Talba said the appellants have succeeded in proving all the 7 grounds of appeals canvassed by the councils and all resolved in favor of the appellants. A former governor of Adamawa State, Mr. Boni Aruna, is calling on the people of the state to support the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, in the February presidential election. Addressing stakeholders of the party at the commissioning of the PDP presidential campaign office in Yola, the Adamawa state capital, he notes that the state will resist any threat from any other political party preaching messages of sentiment.
We are going to handle it based on facts, based on needs, based on reality, based on the capacity of our candidate. And we are saying that in all contexts, you look for your best.
Intrigues in Rivers State politics grow as the Bera community and its alignment with some political personalities is generating controversies. The Bera community is making its position on the election known during the conferment of an award on another son of the community and National Vice Chairman South-South of the APC, Victor Gyadom. In his reaction, however, the SDP candidate Magnus Abi dismissed the rejection, pointing out that he has been endorsed by the majority of Bera community.
Some politicians are rattled by that level of acceptance and that level of uncommon love and affection that the community has shown to me.
The youth wing of the Adamawa State chapter of the All Progressives Congress has organized a solidarity walk in support of the party's presidential candidate, Senator Bola Tinubu, and his running mate, Senator Kashim Shettima, ahead of the 2023 general elections. The solidarity walk, which started at the Yola International Airport roundabout through Yola, the state capital, is to drum support for all candidates contesting the election under the party. According to the party, the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, who is from Adamawa State, is not a threat to their chances.
We youth in Adamawa State, we are ready for our election 2023. That is why we organize this road walk from Rabal Medrogi to Party Secretariat. Youth of Adamawa State, we are ready to take over.
There you have it. You've been served with your political roundup stories. Election is our focus. So we're looking at the conduct and security. Are we really, really ready for this election? We'll be getting some expert opinions on this tonight. The chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, has met with the leadership of the National Youth Service Corps and NYSC, and they was received by the acting DG of the NYSC. Today's meeting is a bit to synergize and discuss ways to strengthen relationship of both organizations ahead of the 2023 election. The NYSC often give out their core members who are serving the 1 year compulsory service to the nation to INEC to use as ad hoc officials. INEC chairman spoke at the event on issues relating to election security.
The National Youth Corps members are our most reliable, most readily available, most educated, most patriotic, the largest number of election duty staff in the country. We will continue to place premium on the security of Corps members on election duty. And for that reason, we will also extend insurance cover in case of injury or other emergencies to all Corps members involved in election duty. And working with the security agencies, we also extend protection and security to the Youth Corps members' lodges when they deploy to the field on election day, because we had some unhappy experiences before when some hoodlums raided the corpus lodges in some places while the Youth Corps members were on election duty. So we'll continue to take whatever step that is necessary to protect and guarantee the security and welfare of the Youth Corps members.
All right, you heard it. That's the INEC chairman. So, again, the commission has commenced the distribution of permanent voter cards, PVC, to registrants at the 8,809 electoral wards across Nigeria. The INEC is also says that it has resolved to devolve PVC collection to these registration areas and wards from Friday the 6th which is today to Sunday, the 15th January 2023. That's next weekend. Well, the devolution process by INEC for the PVC collection to the ward commences yesterday, and all validly registered voters who are yet to collect their PVC are encouraged to seize the opportunity of the devolution of the wards to do so. After the 15th of January, INEC says the exercise will now revert to the local government offices of the commission until the 22nd January 2023. Now, you remember that INEC opened up the collection of the PVC last month, and it's naturally going to end on the 22nd of January. But what INEC has done is that naturally you would have gone to the local government areas to collect your PVCs. But what they have done is now for easy access so that it's not too far from your residencies or your place of work, wherever you have registered, they've now devolved it to the RAs, which are over 8,000 across the RAs and the wards across Nigeria. So it's easier for you. So after about a week of doing that, they will now revert to the local government areas until the 22nd. Well, a lot to unpack tonight. Let me also give you another perspective to this election. In Borno State, it does look to me that things are really shaping up, especially for those residents over the last several years when they have experienced insurgency. And the governor of Borno State, Babagana Zulum, when he met with the president today, after that meeting, he said they're about 90% ready. Security has really improved in the state, and he thinks that since elections were conducted in 2015 and 2019, there is no going back. Well, this is important because if you see what has happened over 4 years, there are over 50 incidents where INEC offices have been attacked. So the question has always been, are we ready security-wise for this election? Let me allow you to listen to what Governor Babagana Zulum said today at the Villa.
The people of Borno State have voted during the 2015 election. They have also voted during the 2019 election. Can you compare the security situation in 2019, 2011, and now? The security in Borno State has improved tremendously by over 90%. So we don't have any problem. Voters, eligible voters, can go and cast their votes on election day, inshallah, in Borno State. We don't have any problem. Our rehabilitation and resettlement is also going very well. We are looking forward to see how we can rehabilitate Maiduguri Gamborungala Road and then Maiduguri Banki Road, with a view to opening up opportunities for the people to earn their means of livelihood.
All right, you heard the governor. So let's get to it. Tonight, we'll be getting more information in relation to the preparations of INEC. Our man, Mr. Festus Okoye, who is almost becoming our in-house, I won't call him expert because he works with INEC, but you will see him frequently in this period. But he's not physically here with me. He joins us virtually from Awka. Thank you so much, Mr. Festus Okoye, who is the National Commissioner in charge of voter education and publicity with INEC. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Then we have a general who was the former force commander of the MNJTF and the Darfur in Sudan, and the former theater commander of the Operation Safe Haven, General Anthony Atolagbe, joins us live in our Abuja studio. Thank you so much, General.
Good evening.
It's good to see you, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Let me begin with Mr. Okoye. This effort, and I'll show you, earlier on I went on Twitter to ask people about their experience, but it does look to me that a lot of people who tweeted back to me had good things to say. So I'm happy with you tonight because some Nigerians have good things to say about the process. So it's good news. We can always improve on it. Now, give us an understanding of what Nigerians need to know. These PVCs are important, but the collection is still not encouraging. Do you have an idea of just how many Nigerians have collected, the rate of collection, the percentage of collection? What do we need to know now?
Well, I cannot give you the rate and percentage of collection now. Our resident electoral commissioners, some of our resident electoral commissioners send in daily reports of PVC collection in their various states. Some of them do send reports every 2 days. Some of them send weekly reports. So we are still collecting these reports from various states of the Federation. And the reports vary. In some states, we have a high collection.
Oh, there seems to be some network issues, connection with Mr. Osolagbe. There are some of your responses that I'm going to take tonight from Twitter when I asked the question about your experience. If anyone has any worry or question to ask about the process, I would also like to take them up tonight. Of course, we'll be speaking with Mr. Okoye in the course of the program. But let me come to the issue of security. Pending the time that we'll get Mr. Okoye back online with us. General Tolagwe, the Northeast was sometimes your domain.
North Central.
It was the North Central. Yeah. Save even what is North Central. So you understand the intricacies of the security within that region, and also the fact that when election comes, it's a totally different ball game. When the governor said, then the 90% ready. What do you make of that kind of statement?
Well, good evening, viewers. And election period usually are tough times within the polity of any nation. So when the governor comes up and says they are ready, I think to some extent there is some powerful assurances he has gotten from the security apparatus on the ground. And it only requires a sound security architecture that will be designed by the commander and the police commissioner, or those who are responsible for security within the area. So from what we know from the military side, ours is to give support to the police. But considering the environment or the protection environment where this election is to be held, there is supposed to be a kind of graduation of the security environment. And what do I mean by that? There are areas that are, this graduation are from 1 to 5. So when you talk about 5, you are talking about an area that is predominantly military. When you come back to 4, perhaps a mixture of military and some elements of maybe counter-terrorist policemen. And then when you come to 3, it will be a mix of military and then the police. And then when you come to 2, it will be police along with maybe NSCDC, and then you go to level 1. So there will be this kind of graduation within that protection environment. And it's only left for who is in charge now to do a kind of an assessment of the threats that are existing within the general area, so that he can put the design of his operation on the table in support of the other agencies. And normally, for you to be able to get the required capability to be on the ground, you do what we call military capability study, which will tell you the number of vehicles, the number of men, and that is vis-a-vis the level of threats that you are expecting within the area. So
let me just take you up quickly. I mean, Governor Zulum, I know you must have seen him. A lot of Nigerians have experienced him when he was very livid on the field when there was an attack by insurgents or in Borno, in the interiors of Borno State. Now, him coming out to say, oh, things are looking good. But from your institutional memory, General, if you look at 2015, and 2019. And these are periods where elections were cancelled at some point based on security reason. Just about this time, in 2015, elections, the NSA announced the postponement of election that we're not quite ready and gave a 6 weeks postponement. If you compare 2015 and 2019, looking at 2023 also, would you say we're faring better than these election cycles in terms of security or the peace that we have had, that we have in the nation?
Well, I'm thinking the geopolitical zones have different level of security threats. So we cannot use a kind of straitjacket approach to talk about the situation. If you take the Northeast, significantly, there's been some improvement, and I think kudos should go to the military. Before then, the situation in the Northwest was not as tough as it is now. So what actually needs to be done, I think, from my own perspective, is perhaps I see a situation where maybe some level of technology will need to be applied, though these things are not gotten off shelf. And then a lot of, more men who are in the offices need to come out because the period is short. So it's not as if people are going to deploy for too long. So those areas that are not being, they won't be able to cover with the level of personnel that are on the ground now. When they bring out all the other men of the police and that of the military and the NSCDC and others out, then you find a situation where there will be some, the first generation will be multiplied, and then it will be able to give more cover into those areas.
Let me, before I lose the connection with Mr. Okoye, I see that he's back with us now. Mr. Okoye, you were quite not done with what you were saying before the connection cut you off. Please, could you explain to Nigerians the question I was asking earlier?
You were talking about the rate of PVC collection.
Absolutely.
And the point I was making is that the rate of PVC collection varies from one state to the other and from one place to the other. Some of the resident electoral commissioners are sending daily reports to the commission. Some of them are sending reports every 2 days, and some are sending reports every 1 week. So we are still collecting these reports. The national commissioners are also supervising the collection of these PVCs in the states that they supervise. But as of today, we are really encouraged at the turnout of persons coming to come and collect. Community leaders are mobilizing, market women are mobilizing, religious leaders and traditional leaders are mobilizing, and people are turning out to come and collect their PVCs. Yes, we have a few challenges here and there in relation to those who do not know what to do. There are some who did multiple or double registration. We are trying to explain to them on why we didn't print their PVCs. There are some people who carry that transfer and who are thinking that they can collect their PVCs at the point where they did the transfer. And we are explaining to them that their PVCs have been sent to the local government and the registration areas where they want to vote. But I believe that by the time we spend 7 days at the registration areas, that the situation will have improved tremendously. So we commend the patience and understanding of most Nigerians who have turned up to collect their PVCs.
Now, I'll show you that there are a few concerns some Nigerians are having. But let me quickly get these off. Is there any way anyone can check the status of their registration on your website? Mr. Okay, can you hear me? Oh, I think there is another frozen connection there. If you can hear me, is there a possibility of any voter to check their status on your website? Oh dear. We'll get Mr. Okoye back as soon as we are able to confirm the connection is back. General, let me come back to you. You look at the situation in the North Central, does it give you more worry than the kind of worry that we had in 2019 or 2015, which was basically or mostly the northeastern region of the country?
See, I was in the North Central 2017, 2018. And basically what we had done there were things perhaps that the assessment of threat there before us were not done. We introduced some level of modeling. The movement of troops are usually with vehicles. And we felt that, look, you can't continue to use vehicles where criminals are escaping through tracks, road tracks, bush roads. Most of them, they are on bikes. They just move through those. So we introduced motorcycle into the area, and we are able to catch up with people. We got some equipment to track people's phones. You go into a place, you create chaos, we come after you using trackers. So, to some extent, this has brought some little respite into the North Central. What needed to be done was for those coming after to keep building on what has been done.
But I mean, if you look at it in the North Central region, we know that Kaduna is a hotbed. And so specifically some local government areas in Kaduna, you look at Zamfara, you look at states like Gombe, some part of Niger, some part of Kogi, which attention needs to be taken on. But you cannot also take away your eyes off what is happening in the southeast region of the country. Between now and February 25th, what do you think? What kind of engagement? How do we ensure that we can improve voter confidence? Because if anyone has seen any of this violence happen, will not want to go out. But how do we improve how do we make sure that things get better?
Okay, so if wishes were horses, I've been to a lot of places and I can tell you how things could have gotten better. For instance, if we have satellites that have Earth observation capabilities, these can capture even car number plates. So in a station where somebody commits traffic offense, it's easy. So and it's so powerful that areas can be easily captured. But these are not things that can be done overnight. We only need to just find a way to key into some of these things so that subsequently things can improve. What else can be deployed? There are what they call VARCIS, Vehicle and Cargo Inspection Systems, which are used, if you go to the border between USA and Mexico, they deploy them there. You don't need to pull anybody on the road to tell people to come down from inside trucks. You just, the bumps are there, slow down the vehicles, and then it sees how people are hiding under fruits and other things, and you tell them to come down and pick them out. We don't have some of these facilities because these are force multipliers in the sense that they reduce the efforts that you put using manpower. Instead of you to have 10 people standing at a checkpoint, you just deploy somebody on the machine. You have some policemen that are standing in front there. Immediately, it signals that there are people who are hiding. Yes, and so and they have capabilities to also detect weapons, like the backscatter that are used at the airport. Those backscatters, the ones that are actually deployed at the airport, usually it is because of the level of exposure that it gives to the body and the person who is observing. That is why you can't see the person who is on the machine outside. Because usually they get so attracted by some people they see, they want to peep and see who that person is. So this brought a lot of measures and criticism when they first launched backscatter, and the one we are using at the airport now. So you now see, so when you go further and start coming down, what is the level of security in the INEC offices? Are there security lights? Are there standby teams to come into the area in case the place comes under attack, even if you cannot deploy physically there? What is the level of cooperation between the security agencies? Because some even have the information, they won't release it. And even when they release it, they want to release it at a very, when it's already getting late to actually react. So, but things are getting improved between the security agencies, right. I know.
There are a few more stuff that we will need you to help us unpack, General, and also hopefully we'll get Mr. Okoye back online with us. But there are a lot of issues that we need to deal with. Would there be voting at the IDP camps? Those that have been displaced, what provision have been made for them? Because at these IDP camps captured, there are several states in the country that have huge number of IDPs. What about incident forms? What does technology, network, and mobile connection have to do with the BVAS machine? These are some of the issues that we'll be unpacking for you. But as we go on this break, everyone, you can get on your mobile phone. I was going to ask Mr. Okoye, but for the benefit of everyone, you can go type in your browser on the internet, voters.inecnigeria.org, voters.inecnigeria.org, voters, that's voters.inecnigeria.org. You will be able to find your profile as a voter in Nigeria on that website. I'll be showing you more about what Nigerians are saying, your status. We take a break, everyone. And when we come back, so much we talk about the 2023 election, the preparation, and the security. Stay with us, everyone. We'll be right back.
This is what they call 21st century. When my customer say I want to use POS, I will just bring out my phone, open the application, use this, press this code. I don't have anyone that using POS anymore.
Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Earlier on, I told you that you can check your status as a voter on INEC's website. It's www.voters.inecnigeria.org. And you can, by your state and your local government, you'll be able to identify where you belong. Mr. Festus Okoye is with us. He's the National Commissioner in charge of voter education and publicity. And we have General Anthony Atolagbe, former Force Commander of the MNJTF and the former Theater Operations Commander at the Operation Safe Haven. Thank you so much, General, for coming tonight. Some of you, when you send some messages on Twitter, and perhaps let me show you some of the things that you have tweeted out tonight in response. Some of you have very good things to say about the process and some of the questions and query that you have on your mind. This first one is coming from Adekunle, at Classified Perez. He said, I spent about less than 10 minutes to obtain mine. Smooth and seamless process. Another one coming from Alpha Miracle, saying, I collected mine yesterday, though the crowd was much, but I have to wait and make sure I went home with it. Then Dean Africa, this is what he says in response. He says, probably the easiest process I've had with anything related to Nigeria's government took me less than 20 minutes. The next one is from Hassan. Hassan says, straightforward, less stressful, and in my ward here in Mina, in Niger State. Jide Aluka on Twitter also responded by saying, attempted twice at INEC Nigeria, but neither old copy nor a validated PVC is available. People in my LGA are not finding it easy. Mr. Okoye and your people at INEC, I guess you're looking at this, and so that you can come to the aid. Omar Yabeji at Ogbeni is saying that I spent less than 3 hours before I could collect my own. The INEC staffs are well coordinated. And Peter's Olakunle, his own response seems also very similar. He says, he broke it down. He said, in Surulere, line up according to your ward, 12 words, write your last and first name, get called upon to collect your card, maximum 20 minutes, you are out. And Peter's, Simon OJ This is what Simon Ojo says. He says, so I went to the Karu LGA INEC office on the 13th of December. They checked and couldn't find my PVC. They filed a complaint for omitted and missing card and asked me to come back yesterday, 5th January, as new cards would be printed. I showed up and my PVC was still not ready. Mr. Okoye, I hope you're noting that one too. That Ikaoba at Isibo266 on Twitter says, mine was seamless at Buhari INEC office. I got in less than 15 minutes. Mr. Okoye, these are some of the response that we've gotten. I was asking you earlier how people can get their status checked. But some of the response that people have checked, saying this will either encourage them to be able to go out. What more information can you give us tonight? Oh, there. We're still not able to connect back to Mr. Okoye. But let's go back to the security situation in the country. Now, you look at what happened in 4 years, 50 incidents, over 50 incidents, because by the time INEC released the report, there were 50 offices attacked in 15 incidents that happened in 4 years. And about 3 or more have happened. This is really becoming worrisome for a lot of stakeholders. To protect the process, especially in the Southeast region, there is still this Monday sit at home. How do you conduct election in that kind of arrangement?
Well, the problem of sit at home, I think, is even getting uncoordinated these days, because you see some places they are turning out to run around their daily activities, while in some places others are still complying with the instructions or with the directives. It's still on some areas that have been emphasized severally here. It's about intelligence gathering, and we have various forms of gathering information. In this particular, we have what we call HUMINT, which is human intelligence. These people are like moles that are deployed just within the society or the communities, and they are given some stipends to conduct their activities so that they will be able to pass necessary information to security agencies. How far the various security agencies have gone in respect of this kind of deployment, we may not be able to tell. If they are doing the right thing, it's supposed to give enough support to intelligence gathering. Aside from that, there are other things that perhaps could be done. If you look at what technology does these days, we can monitor people's telephones and hear their conversations. These are some of the areas that are available to some of the security agencies that are around. We also talk about we talk about drones, but how many can we get at this particular point in time? Because if we don't have them in stock before now, getting them before election or to deploy them during elections might be difficult. What those kind of things does is that it has a wider coverage of the area, and people can just sit in a place and monitor and see whether there are people moving or there is a kind of disturbance going on. And it also reduces the efforts of maybe having to throw patrols to keep going around the whole town. You have patrol just burning fuel, but when you place some of these tech equipments on the ground, all you need to do is to keep a kind of alarm system on the ground. Immediately something is coming up somewhere around Garki area, they press the bell, the standby force is already sitting inside their vehicles.
To move in quickly.
Yes.
Let's look at this. The situation in the Southeast region is a bit more technical, because sometimes you said it is not coordinated, but it's very impactful in a lot of ways, in the sense negatively, because people are so afraid, and that in the midst of that fear, they stay at home and they're not able to carry out their economic activities. But if you look at it, what do you think can necessarily be done, either by the traditional leadership in the region, or the political leadership, or even by the citizens themselves? We have not experienced this before going into an election, but we are experiencing it this time around. Is there any possibility of handling this situation, tackling it?
Okay, we're all aware that there are troops, there are policemen, and every other security system that are all deployed in the area. Coordination is important. Information gathering is also key. And then there's this aspect of, we call it mutual support. What are we talking about? A force is spread in such a way that you should be able to have a linkage with the other force that are deployed to your left, to your front, to your back, and to your right. So that in the event that something happens, both of you can always meet up, and then you put...
But General, you look at the attacks. They've mostly come, and it looks so much that they are against democratic institutions. What do you do in that regard? I mean, if people are attacking democratic institutions, whether they don't want election or they don't want... that is a pointer, isn't it? What do you do in that scenario?
You see, some of these things, they happen in not only in Nigeria, they happen across the entire world space. So what needs to be done, we still need to be done. If the federal government has got its security apparatus, and they need to put them on the ground to make sure that how well we are combating it is the one that is important. And what do? There has to be regular reviews of your operations. When, for instance, if you are deployed in a place today and you lost some men, for instance, or even, let's assume, you inflict some casualties you do a kind of appraiser immediately. That's by the commander who is there. What led to this level of success that we achieved? What are we going to do to improve on it? Do we keep to these same tactics? Okay, we lost some men. What happened? Then, so you now see a situation, okay, they broke into us and ambushed us. What did we not do right that made us to get into this?
Let's see if we can speak to Mr. Festus Okoye via telephone. It does look to me that the internet connection is being hindering our camera, and it's very frustrating, especially on a day that I like our viewers to be able to get a sense of some of the new information that will help them get their PVC. It's just 49 days away. But the website where you can get it is up, and you'll be able to see it now. Is voters.inecnigeria.org. Mr. Okoye, what can you tell us about the readiness of INEC? I know the BVAS is all of the consignment for the BVAS is ready, isn't it? Give us an understanding of what our viewers need to know now, based on some of the response I read earlier.
It's very, very clear that there's a lot of enthusiasm on the part of the Nigerian people about this particular election. And the commission is going to encourage people to collect their PVCs by making the PVCs available. Now, as you pointed out, we have deployed to the 8,809 registration areas throughout the Federation, and national commissioners are monitoring the situation in their various states. Presently, I have gone to around 8 of the registration areas to monitor the rate of PVC collection, and people are really responding. We have also been receiving daily reports on PVC collection from Edo, from Lagos, and from other states of the Federation. And so the situation is encouraging. And we have reached out to traditional religious leaders. We've reached out to the various community leaders. We've reached out to market women and so on and so forth. And announcements are going on. People are mobilizing for PVC collection. So there are 3 classes of people we have challenge with.
Okay.
The first relates to those who carry that transfer. If you are in Lagos and you indicated that you no longer want to vote in Lagos, that you want to vote in Kaduna State and in Kaduna North local government, Your PVC for your transfer will be in Kaduna North local government and not in Lagos. That is one. Secondly, relates to those who carried out double and multiple registration. We did not print the PVCs of these classes of persons. And so their PVCs, their original PVCs are still valid, and they can vote with those PVCs. And the third relates to those who have a genuine complaint. We have taken those complaints. Anyone that has a valid complaint, we are going to print their PVCs and make their PVCs available. And so we encourage people to come out en masse, collect their PVCs, and we are appreciative of the understanding and patience most Nigerians have shown, especially in some of the places that look congested.
So quickly, because this telephone conversation might not be longer for television, but let's quickly get a few things out. The IDP camps, Mr. Okoye, are there going to be elections conducted in the IDP camps? What is the organization level? Because what we understand is that the register of voters is according to polling units. IDP camps, are they now captured in the process? In the system for the voting?
Well, the Electoral Act 2022 makes it mandatory that the commission must factor in persons who have been displaced as a result of one emergency or the other, factor them in so that they can exercise their democratic franchise. We have profiled all the persons in IDP camps. We know the number of persons in the various IDP camps. We know the number of IDP camps in various states of the Federation. And so we are going to configure all the IDP camps into registration areas, and all persons who are in IDP camps who want to vote, we have an opportunity of voting. Those who lost their PVCs, we reprinted their PVCs, and they will be in a position to vote. But those IDPs who are staying in the houses of friends or who have moved from one state to the other, unfortunately may not be in a position to vote. But all those in IDP camps, we have captured them, and we are configuring their polling units into the registration areas, and they will vote in those IDP camps, definitely.
So a lot of our viewers tonight want to know so many things. A lot of messages I have here. I'd like you to do some education, but unfortunately, because of that connection problem, maybe when you get back to Abuja, we'll be able to have you in the studio and speak to us properly and more extensively. We'll create more time for this kind of engagement. But on a final note, there are fears of the purchase of permanent voter cards, and there are fears of people who are non-Nigerians who come overnight on the eve of the election, and they are used as voters, and also the fears of children, underage voters in this election. What do you have to say to these issues? It's really causing some kind of fear in some of the voters who have asked some of these questions.
Well, you have packed in so many things into one question. On the issue of underage voters, this commission published the entire voters register in Nigeria in the various local government areas and in all the registration areas. And people have made their objections, people have made their complaints, and also people have made their claims. The commission is presently cleaning up the voters register. The voters register, the cleanup is an ongoing exercise, and we are going to try our best to make sure that we go into the 2023 general election with a voters register that Nigerians can be proud of, and also with a voters register that is robust. In terms of non-Nigerians voting, only validly registered voters will be in a position to vote during the 2023 general election. And the immigration service, anytime they make any arrest, anytime they see any individual who claim to be a Nigerian, who has a voter's card, they make those arrests, make those voters' cards available to the commission, and we cancel those registrations. And so Nigerians should be on the lookout. If any non-Nigerian approaches any of the registration, any of the polling units on election day, they should indicate, and the security agencies will do the needful.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Okoye. I know you are in the East, so as soon as you get back into the heart of in the FCT, kindly let us know. So our viewers also, you can see right here on your screen how you can get your status check on the INEC website. It is voters.inecnigeria.org, and you can be able to find out whether or not you will be able to. The drop-down buttons are there for you. On the final note, just in 30 seconds, General, I think we are very good to go. No security issues, nothing major.
I don't foresee any major incident, even though I can't speak for the troublemakers. But if it happens, the military will be able to handle them.
So, Amen, if I ask you today, if we were to conduct election in Nigeria, security-wise, we're good to go?
Yeah, there might be some little hitches, and then maybe it might even lead to postponement or something, but that does not mean, it doesn't give an envelope that perhaps the situation is that bad.
General Anthony Atolagbe, former force commander of the MNJTF and a former operations commander of the theater, Safe Haven, the theater commander there in the North Central region, and Mr. Okoye. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Well, that was our show for tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching. Don't forget, on Sunday, 7 p.m., the presidential candidate of the Labour Party and his vice will be in the People's Town Hall answering questions from Nigerians on why they think Nigerians should vote for them. 7 p.m. right here on Channels Television. I'm sure on Kimale. Bye-bye.